Let me ask you a question. How much money are you spending to acquire customers? Only to watch them disappear 30, 60, or even 90 days later. Because that's where most DTC brands are getting crushed right now. Not because they can't get traffic, not because they can't make enough creative, not because they can't launch the best campaigns in the market. Most DTC brands are getting crushed purely because they built the sale machine for the first sale, but then they forgot to build the machine that makes the second, third, fourth, or even fifth sale. And when that happens, everything gets harder. Your CAC goes up, your margins get thinner, your forecasts get shittier, your team gets noisier, and suddenly everyone's asking the same question. Why does it feel like we're growing, but also feel like we're leaking money everywhere, right? And that's the game that I've spent the last 10 years trying to solve. My name is Steve Logan. I'm a senior director of retention and lifecycle. I've scaled retention at $100 million brands like Hexclad and Stockbox. I've also scaled retention at mid-market brands like Truly Beauty and Lively, and even scrappy startups like Dr. Rachel and Angaritas. So I've seen both sides of the coin. I've seen the complexity of large brands needing to keep growing month after month to justify their valuation, to satisfy leadership, and to make shareholders happy. I've seen the pressure inside small brands. They don't even care about fancy dashboards or vanity metrics. They just need to stop bleeding cash. They need to break even and scale without setting more money on fire, right? I've worked with different sizes, different stages, but the same core problem. Customers are buying once and they're not coming back fast enough. Now, here's where most people get retention wrong. They think retention is just a game of, all right, we're going to send more emails. We probably need more SMS. We probably need to optimize our pop-ups or get better pop-ups. We need to give more discounts. We need to give more, hey, we miss you campaigns. That is not retention. That is noise. Real retention starts much deeper. It starts with understanding, number one, what is keeping our customers up at night? Number two, what is keeping the team up at night? Because once you answer those two questions, that is where the money is usually hiding. At Truly Beauty, for instance, I turned their lukewarm lists into a $14 million a year retention engine simply by asking better questions and building a zero-party data engine that made personalization actually feel personal. And within 2 months, that engine lifted revenue per subscriber by 2.5x. At Lively, I helped sell sofas that were $2,500 via text, not by shouting louder, purely by reducing anxiety at exactly the right moment. We sent ASMR unboxing videos, we sent packaging sounds, fabric sounds, to just make it feel real before it arrived. Returns dropped by 30% within 3 months. Some customers bought again just days after. That is what good lifecycle does. It doesn't just follow up, it removes friction. It builds certainty. It increases desire, it extends trust, and gives people a reason to come back before they drift away. And that matters now more than ever. Because if you're an enterprise brand and your problem probably isn't, how do we send more campaigns? Your problem probably is, all right, how do we increase repeat purchase rate without crushing margin? How do we personalize at scale without turning the brand robotic? How do we keep growth compounding month over month without getting acquisition more expensive? How do we turn retention into something forecastable and not fragile? And if you're a startup or a mid-sized enterprise, your questions are different, right? But just as urgent. For instance, how do we turn first-time buyers into repeat buyers sooner? How do we create enough LTV to support paid acquisition? How do we stop relying on discounts just to make a sale? How do we build a brand that people are actually willing to come back to, right? And that is why I do not do spray and paint marketing. I don't believe in blasting everyone with the same message, the same flow, and hoping something happens. Every message, every segment, every campaign starts with two questions. As I mentioned, what is keeping your customers up at night? And what is keeping the team up at night? Because once you answer those two questions properly, retention stops being an email or SMS channel and becomes a growth lever. It becomes a margin lever. It becomes a cash flow lever. It becomes a customer experience lever. And it becomes a valuation lever. So whether you're running a complex retention program inside a large DTC business, or you're trying to make a smaller brand finally break through without drowning CAC, the goal is the same. Turn one-time buyers into repeat customers. Turn repeat customers into loyalists, and then turn loyalty into predictable revenue. Because brands that win long-term are not the ones that scream the loudest. They're the ones that understand their customers the deepest. They're the ones that build systems and make buying again feel natural. So, if you want someone who will actually dig into your core data, find the leaks, build loyalty that feels like a secret club, and turn retention into an actual growth lever, let's talk. As I mentioned, my name is Steve Logan. Been a pleasure talking with you. Bye-bye.